Alrighty, so we've just seen how to do our SumList values function on the board, and now we're going to jump in and look at how to do that in code. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to make a header file. So I'm going to open in my editor list.h. Alright, and now here we're going to put our linked list representation. That is the struct that's going to represent the nodes in our linked list. Alright, so let me put struct node. Alright, and inside our struct we're going to have struct node pointer next and int data. Alright, now remember that we consider struct node pointer to be one thing. That is the type of next. Alright. Let me just put a comment here. Put list.h. Alright. And put a semicolon after our struct. Okay, so we're going to, in our header file, put our prototypes. So let me put int sum list values. And then we're going to take in as an argument a list, which is a struct node pointer. Alright, and we're also going to need a create list function. And that is a pretty simple function that we can go through pretty quickly. Alright, so that returns a struct node pointer, and we call it create list. Alright. Now, for good measure, let's put some comments here to describe what the functions do. Alright. So the create list function creates a new linked list and returns a pointer, and it must be called before using list functions. And our SumList values function sums all the values in the list. Alright, so that's the .h file. Let's take that and jump into our .c file. So now we're in list.c. I'm just going to paste what we had there. We can turn this into functions. So for create list, what we have is, well, this is quite simple because in our case, for this kind of linked list, we are just going to be returning a null. So return null, because when you create a list, it should be empty. And an empty list is just null. Alright, now for the fun bit, SumList values. Alright, so what I'm going to show you is a pattern that we can use, and you'll have seen this in the diagrams earlier. A pattern that we can use, and with minor tweaks we can apply it to lots of different situations, lots of different linked list functions. Alright, so there's 3 steps. I'm going to go through the steps now. First step is step 1. So we make a current to keep track of where we are in the list. And then in step 2, we have iterate through the list using a loop. And when we get to the end of the list, that's where null will be. So null is at the end. Let's put that in brackets there. And step 3, the final step, is reassign current to iterate through the loop. Alright, now let's fill in the code. For step 1, what does that look like? We need to make a current to keep track of where we are in the list. Well, current is of type node pointer, so that is just the same as what we've seen before. The struct node star. I'm going to see that over and over again. Remember to think of that as one type. That's just one type there. Current is going to be the name of the variable, and then we'll make it equal to list, right? That's just to start with. Alright, in step 2, we iterate through the list using a loop. Let's use a while loop. And for our condition, let's use current not equal to null. Now this part, the condition, can change a little bit, but we'll see how that works. For now, we'll just leave it as, well, current is not equal to null. And why current not equal to null? Because null is at the end of the list. And when current points to null, it means it's moved all the way through the list to the end. Alright. And this is where we have step 3, inside the while loop. We have to reassign current so that current will actually move through the list. So we have current equal to current next. And because current's a pointer and next is also a pointer, that means it will move one item along the list. Alright, so we're not quite done yet. We have a couple more things to do. Let me just, let me hash include our list.h. Let's not forget to do that. Alright, and here, let us create a counter, a sum, right? Int sum, and let's make it that equal to 0 to start off with. And what we're going to do is we're going to move through each item in the list and add the value in each node onto sum. So where are we going to do that? It's going to be in our while loop. So before we move to the next item, here we're going to have sum plus equals current data. Alright, and lastly, this function returns an int. So we'll want to return sum. Alright, there we have it. One last thing is we will want to hash include our standard library. It's good practice to hash include that. Actually, the null value is defined in stdloop. Alright. So that's some list values. Not too bad. We will test it later, but for now, let's leave it there. Alright, so now that we've done some list values, see if you can code that up yourself. Have a go of that. And make sure you compile at the end of it, right? You can use a main function that is just empty or prints hello world. But it's a good idea to be continually trying to compile your program to make sure you can pick up any mistakes that the compiler will notice. Alright, and now using this step 1, step 2, step 3 strategy, see if you can code yourself a length function. Now that will look like this. We'll have an int list length, and we'll take in struct node star list, and it will return the number of elements in the list. And if you want even more practice, try doing a show list. And what show list will do is it will go through each element in the list, iterate through, and print each element of the list. Just print each element. Alright, and that will look like void show list, and again take in a struct node star list. Alright, in the next video I'll show you how this one's done.